Welcome to our May 2026 Greater Chattanooga real estate market update. Each month we go over the numbers so that you have the facts and you know exactly what's going on in our local real estate market, because as you know, real estate is very, very local, and I hope to provide you some information that will help you in making decisions on what you are looking to do in real estate. So first thing we want to talk about is the interest rates. So interest rates are actually up this month, sitting at 6.6, whereas last month they were at 6.3%. So that doesn't seem like a big difference, but it does affect that affordability and the monthly payments that buyers are seeing. But even though that's happening, prices very stable, not seeing much change there. The real story about what happened in the month of May is inventory is up, which makes sense because school is out and there are a lot of families trying to make moves during this time before the next school season starts. So very likely to see inventory higher in the next couple of months than you will for the rest of the year just because of that. Let's talk about Hamilton County. The median sales price is pretty consistent month over month, right now sitting at $390,000, same as last year. Average days on the market, 56. That's down a little bit from April, but it is up from last year just because there are more homes on the market. Sold listings, 487, which is basically the same that we saw last year, but down a little bit from the 512 that we saw in April. Active listings, quite a big difference here, 2,053. Last month we were at 1,886. So just as I said, as school lets out and people are also starting to put their homes on the market, prices pretty steady. Inventory, is up there, so buyers have more choices. Dade County, median sales price $275,000 for the month of May, which is down from $312,500 that we saw in April. And last year's May, the median sales price was pretty high. Average days on market 67, so that's down quite a bit from what we saw in April, which was 93. Sold listings 11 for the month of May. That is down from the 16 that we saw in April. And last year around this time, we had about 14. So all pretty close there. Numbers are smaller, so they do change a little bit more here. Active listings, 64, which is the same that we had in May and of last year. And then we're slightly down from April, which was 67, which means some of those homes are actually selling. Seeing a little bit softer market. But it's improving as you can look at the April data and go, okay, it's getting there. But the inventory is staying pretty steady. So as far as Dade County goes, some good updates to see there. And now we're going to talk about Walker County. Median sales price $285,000. Which is up from the $265 that we saw in April and also up from last year too. So good signs there. Average days on market 79. 63 is what we saw last month. And then this time last year, average days on market was 54. So as you can tell, it is taking longer to sell, not just from last month, but also from last year. Sold listings pretty well on track with what we saw last month. We're sitting at 76. April was 78, and then last year around this time was 89. Active listings, 276, which is up from April, where we had 266. Not up a lot, but pretty different, pretty significant change from last year. Where we were sitting at 252, so about 20 or more listings than we had last month or last year. And that's because inventory's out there. Inventory's happening. Buyers have more choices, but we are seeing stronger pricing, and it just takes longer to sell. So, as far as Walker County goes, that's the update for May. Let's talk about Catoosa County. Median sales price $316,000. Quite a big jump from April, and also a big jump from last year. So we were both sitting at about 285-ish on both last month and then last year. So that 316 is a pretty good number. Average days on market 64, which is up from 58 that we saw last month. Not a big change there. Sold listings 58. And then we saw 76 last month. And then last year around this time, we were sitting at 79. So as you can see, there's not as much selling at this point in time. And then active listings, 309. April, we were at 300. And then last year, we were at 245. So definitely what you're seeing here is stronger prices, more inventory, but fewer sales, because buyers have a lot more options. Some other big news for Catoosa County homeowners is starting with the 2027 tax year. Homeowners that are age 67 and older may actually qualify for up to $100,000 reduction in assessed value on the school tax portion of their property tax. That's a pretty big deal for retirees or people coming from out of state to come to Catoosa County to actually retire. It limits their tax burden on their property tax. So that is really interesting to see. And I think it's really important to know kind of some of those small local things that help you understand what market you should buy in. So a couple of things that I wanted to tell you about our experiences in the month of May. We had a listing that was on the market for 60 days. And on day number 60, we actually received 2 offers at the same time. And we were able to sell it above the asking price because of that competition. A lot of people, they see days on market and they think this is the end all be all. This means everything. But what is really important is competition and that fear of loss that buyers have. In a market where they have a lot of options, sometimes it's not about that, that days on market, because there's a lot of houses sitting on days on market, whereas that used to be really the kiss of death. Nowadays, it's a little bit more specific. I had another listing that was on the market 108 days. And on that 108th day, we sold it for full asking price. So it's not as simple. It used to be we could just start lowering the price to create traffic, and that's not exactly the best solution every single time. So today, in this market, you have to really be aware of what it actually means. So we're going to look at showing activity to see, what kind of traffic are we getting. We're going to talk about the buyer's feedback. What are we hearing from the buyers that are actually in the market? And then the biggest thing to me is comparing that activity to the other homes that are on the market in your price range, so that you can understand, is it just my home not getting showings, or is the whole market seem to be pretty slow? And those are things that we at the Gibson Home Team look out every single week with our sellers, so that we can make the best decisions possible and get your home sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of days. So if you are thinking about selling your home, or you just have questions about your neighborhood, your local market, what your home could be worth, I am always here to serve you guys. As you know, our business comes 100% from the referrals that you guys give us from your friends, your family, from you. And that's what we do this for. We want to make sure that we are here to help you guys in any way that you can. We are incredibly grateful for your trust. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you next month in our June update. Take care.